So a common thing that people usually ask me is, how do you stay motivated? How do you stay engaged to being able to continue doing your business? And the answer is if I don't stay motivated, if I don't work, I can't eat, okay? So in order for me to be able to put food on the plate, I have to bring home money. And see, here's the thing. The concept that people don't understand is whenever you work for yourself and you do, in comparison with a 9-to-5 job, the 9-to-5, you're going to get paid X amount of hours for X amount of rate first and the 15th of the month, or however your pay period is. When you work for yourself, you have to ensure that you're doing collections. You have to ensure that you're doing fulfillment, you're doing the marketing, you're finding new prospects, and you continue keeping that entire life cycle going on. The entire life cycle. When you work for a business, you've been hired to do one particular task, right? And that one particular task, that's your entire responsibility. But whenever you own your own business, you own everything. You own from the time when you wake up, when you start to work, when you're selling, when you're engaging, finding new clients, doing fulfillment, you're taking care of the orders, you're taking care of customer issues, you're doing the collections, you're doing everything, okay? And you're doing everything. It's a big difference. It's a big difference in, the 9-to-5. And so once again, if you want to eat, you're going to have to make sure that the entire life cycle, the entire pipeline is moving in that trajectory, in that direction, okay? So depending on what type of work you do, some work requires recurring payments with your clients, like what we do is recurring. And with some people, they do one-offs. And if that works for you, great. But then you're going to have to learn how to manage your money as well. And that's a whole other animal. What I will share with you is, if you are looking to stay motivated doing your business, you have to put also some internal milestones. Okay, and those internal milestones can be from the progression in your business. It could be customers, it could be sales, it could be amount of products. Not everything is just engaged just within the dollar amount, at least at the beginning. Okay, because every business is having to grow and they're having to spend money to be able to make money. So, your indication should not just be your sales and your forecast on sales, but it should also be personal growth. What are you doing within your business? Are you expanding? Are you making new services? Are your services things that people need? The list goes on and on and on. And then after a while, then you start looking at your cash flow, you look at your P&L statements. But there's a lot of different ways of being able to indicate to keep yourself motivated. But start with some basic goals and say, you know what, I'm going to spend this amount of time doing this and accomplish that. Okay, then that's how you keep yourself motivated. But the biggest motivation, I can tell you right now, is compensation, because in order for me to eat food and put food on the plate, I have to make money. And if I'm going to make money, I have to make sure that the entire customer cycle is going through. So for those of you that are trying to move from 9-to-5 to your own business, it has to be a transition. But you have to get to the stage where you can see yourself increasing your pay, increasing your wage by selling more of your product or service. Again, every industry is going to be completely different, but the motivational piece is the simple fact that you need to have goals, you need to have milestones, and you need to be able to reflect on that. So keep that in mind.